back by popular demand, and back by Dame's choice as well. We got another eye test for the ages and for the time of today. By the conception of this video, it will be June 2021. This was when the Phoenix Suns played the Clippers. By the time some people watch this video, that shit might be over. Nonetheless, the reason why I'm doing this video also is because Devon Booker and Paul George are having a decent series against each other, going at it. Two shooting guards, two offensive-minded, one of them two-way, but both offensive-minded players. And I think it's just an apt comparison to do for the moment. It's your boy Dame. Subscribe to Dame's World if you haven't. We got all type of content that ranges if you know. If you don't know, hit the subscribe, you feel me? And if you want to go all in, you hit that membership to show some love. And the premium package, the all-in package, consists of me doing videos literally handpicked by you guys who are members. So we got those perks, but nonetheless, in Dame's World, we're going to keep shit flowing regardless. Today, PG versus Devon Booker. And without speaking too much, we just going to break down two of these all-stars and their game. It's your boy Dame. All right, so out the gate, first category, we got a criteria in Dame's World. Scoring. Scoring on the metric weighs as a 5 category. Most are 4 categories, some are 3. But scoring, who is the better scorer? I got Devon Booker at a 4.5 out of 5. I think Devon Booker is the more continuous scorer and can flood, can pour it on more so than a Paul George. Paul George is more of a consistent 20 to 25 type guy. But Devon Booker, I think we've seen have more explosive games, even aside from the 70-point game. I think he got more 50-point games in PG as well. But also coupled with the better shooter. Devon Booker is a pure shooter. Paul George is a great shooter as well. But I think Devon Booker, be it that he gets to his sweet spots and is nearly automatic from many places on the floor, whereas PG has a lot of sweet spots and can shoot. But I just think Devon Booker just uses more of the floor and is a better player at putting the ball in the hoop. 4.5 D-Book, 4.2 PG. PG is a great scorer too, and better in certain areas in which you see right there. I think he's a better finisher at the rim and a driver, which we'll get to. Shooting out of 4, D-Book gets 3.9. If I had to give you the comparison, out of 4 out of 4 is perfect. That's where you get, let's say, a Klay Thompson or a Ray Allen. And then now and then, oh, that move. Oh my God. While I'm talking to you niggas, go look at the move. And some players get 5 out of 4. When you are better than the best, number one, like Steph Curry shooting, he gets 5 out of 4. But 4 out of 4 is the highest standard. Devon Booker's 3.9, right under that. He's a pure shooter and a scorer, which that move is so fucking nice. And I just think he's just one level above being the standard when it comes to shooting. But he's a great shooter right below it. PG 3.8. So though they got moves. Though D-Book is the better shooter in my opinion, Paul George has been a knockdown his whole life as well. And can shoot, and even on OKC and in some roles has been reduced to just shooting to where he's clipped up at a maximal level. Even post surgery when he had his foot injury. You know, when you get those type of injuries, all you do is lock in the gym and get your Jimmy right. So Paul George is an elite shooter as well. I would like to say that they score because they shoot so well. You know what I'm saying? Some people score because they're athletic, but some people score because their jumper is so decent that it opens up the rest of their game. And PG and Book are both those players. So I got Book by a hair. Passing, I got Book 3.3 out of 4, and I got PG 3.2 out of 4. They both are okay passers. None of them are great passers. I think both of them have learned to pass by learned behavior, natural scorers, Devin Booker, I've seen in these last few years making emphasis at being a better passer out the double and just a better facilitator, period, rather than a scorer. So I edged him with a slight nod. Paul is in the same manner too. He struggles with double team passing outs, and he's not the best passer. He dribbles with his head down, so he's not looking to pass, and sometimes he'll just stifle his dribble or make an errant pass. So D-Book slightly with the better passing. IQ even. 3.5 out of 4 for both of these guys. Both of them have a decent IQ. I wouldn't put it at a 4 because that would constitute of making, in my opinion, the right play all the time, like a CP or a LeBron, in my opinion, where you see a man open, you make the mathematically correct play. That basketball is an art, and it's to be ran a certain way. And you can see when fluid basketball is being played, or the right play, the right cut, the right shot, the right dive is being made. So I wouldn't say they're the quintessential example because they're score dominant, score heavy, and that's to a fault often at times, to where they'll take forceful shots or make errant passes, and they don't have it to where it's like Jordan or Kobe yet, to where they can just master their craft and their bad shots are better than a Fisher good shot. It ain't like that yet. So 3.5 apiece. Defense, out of 5, this is an important category. I got Devin Booker with a 3.5. That's a C, low C. He's not a good defender. It's not like he's lacking the effort, but he doesn't have the physicality or the athleticism really to be an elite defender, which means you're not going to see Devin Booker. The assignment is for him to guard the best player too much ever in his career. Whereas Paul George, I gave a 4.5. Paul George has always been a great defender, an elite defender. I feel like aside from Luka Doncic, he can maintain his Luka Doncic, Derrick Rose, and Wade. It's a couple players I've seen give it to Paul, but the reason being is because he guards the best players all the time. He guards Luka, he guards Wade, he guards Kobe, he guards all these players, so he gonna get dogged at times because he's an elite defender. But with that being said, clearly the better defender on and off ball. Ball handle, I had D-Book 3.2 out of 4. PG 3 out of 4. PG has a decent handle. Both of their left hands are low-key inanimate, and PG got his in and out in. He got his little repertoire, but Devin Booker is a little more smooth with his handle. Devin Booker is a little less stiff, which constitutes for that smoothness, and he gets more separation when he gets to wiggling. We'll bring it back. He gets more separation with his handle than PG, in my opinion. So a slight edge. Finishing at the rim, Devin Booker has good touch around the rim, so I gave him a 3.2 out of 4. Paul George is more of a physical finisher at the rim. His touch is not so decent, but like case in point right there, that physicality is more needed in the paint than touch. Touch means you're trying to evade contact. Physicality means you're trying to get contact. Paul George is more emphasized on getting contact. So he's a 3.4 out of 4, better finisher at the rim. Driving at the rim. PG again. Paul George makes more of a conscious effort to get to the rim. Devin Book, as you see there, likes to get to his mid-range sweet spot opposed to going all the way to the rack. He'll get there at times, get a dunk or get a layup, but most of the time he's looking for the pull-up. So I got Paul with finishing and Paul with driving. 3.0 out of 4 for D-Books and 3.3 out of 4 for PG, as we see a nice drive with the left right there. Then you got post play. Devin Booker and Paul George both have a moderate post game. So I gave D-Books a 3 out of 4 and I gave Paul a 3.3. Why? Indiana Paul and even this Paul uses the block more and uses the face-up game a little bit more than Devin Booker. Devin Booker has it too, and usually that move gets me every time I watch it. He's looking to shoot over you in a post, has a couple moves in his bag. They both went to the academy of Kobe Bean Bryant, so we know the post game is going to come with it. I just feel PG is more effective, stronger player in the post, and nice move. And even more experienced in the post. So I got PG there. Athleticism, 3.9 out of 5. This is an important category. People can be dominant off sheer athleticism. Antetokounmpo. Athleticism being a 5 category. D-Book is 3.9 out of 5. So 7.8 high C. He's not fast. He's not strong, but he ain't just no weenie water out there. You feel me? He can take contact. He's 6'4". He's not like undersized. So he's a moderate athlete. Paul George is an elite athlete and was, before the injury, a very elite athlete. Still is. So I gave him a 4.5 out of 5, a 9. Meaning you are quick, you got quick feet, you can jump high, you're powerful. Athletically, it's not too many players that you will want at the guard position that are superior to Paul George. So 4.5. Transition, D-Book's 2.5 out of 4. I don't really see him operate in transition, more of a half-court player, which even gives credence to how good he scores. He prefers the game slowed down so he could get a bucket on your shit. But PG gets a 3 out of 4 in transition because he more, even as we see right now, emphasizes the push and even is a transition threat when it comes to being on the wing without the ball. Paul George had them springs and still got them springs. You feel me? So transition PG. Rebounding, out of 4, I gave D-Books a 2.9. Doesn't really rebound that much, so C. And then I gave PG a 3.2 out of 4. Rebounds a little bit better, is taller, and just is his anatomy presents to be better at that. You know what I'm saying? And his athleticism. Rebounding, PG. ISO was tough. ISO was tough because Paul has the better ISO, but Book has the better, Paul has the better post, but Book has the better handle, and they both can get a bucket by themselves and in different ways. I gave it to D-Book with a 3.6 and PG with a 3.5, so just by a hair. The reason being is they canceled out with better post and better handle. I think D-Books gets to his sweet spots and has more sweet spots than PG. And the way he utilizes his body a lot of times, even with that dexterity and that shot, but he often pushes the defender and gets a little bit of separation to where one-on-one you may think you own him, but he has the creativity to get that little bit of space to bust your ass. You feel me? So I gave Book the slight edge, which was very close. Off-ball offense, I gave PG the slight edge. I think Book is more reliant of being on the ball as scoring, and PG has experience again playing off the ball with Russell Westbrook, being reduced to a three-point shooter, to where I like the way he comes off pick and rolls. I like the way he comes off ball picks and is ready to shoot. That's something that needs to be practiced, even knowing where your footing needs to be when you're coming off those picks to get up a quick shot. So I edged PG with the off ball. Offhand, they both got a 2 out of 4 from me. Neither of their offhand is great. Both could use some work, and what you will notice in Dame's world, a lot of these players don't have both hands. So if you a youngin watching this, use your offhand. Work on that motherfucker religiously, because if you do, you automatically have an advantage over 90% of the league. So both of them get a 2 out of 4 for both not being too effective with their offhand. Let me rewind it again. Not being too effective with their offhand. And then you have crossover. I like D-Book's crossover. Like I said, I like his wiggle package more. Handle is controlling the rock, and crossover is just getting separation and deceiving. So those are two different categories. But I like D-Books again nonetheless. 3.2 out of 4 versus a 3. Paul has a nice little package, but he doesn't get as much separation, and his handle is just a little bit stiffer. Triple threat, I got D-Books at a 3.4, while I got Paul at a 3.5. I just think they're both even when it comes to the triple threat, both looking to shoot over you for the most part. PG's advantage is where I'm looking to shoot over you, but the triple threat means I can blow by you too, and he's better than Booker at that. So I gave him the edge by a slight. Killer instinct. Out of 4, I gave Paul a 2.7 because I've seen many moments where Paul shied away from the moments or is not assertive, and I don't think that's just like, because he's scared at all. I don't think he's scared by any stretch. I just think he's naturally not an aggressive type of player to where in certain moments he might be passive or he might go quiet. So while I do think he's clutch, I don't see that killer instinct in his thought process. You know what I'm saying? Devon Booker, I gave a 3.2 because I see that killer instinct in his thought process, especially 2 years ago when he said, I'm not or was it last year when he said, I'm not missing the playoffs no more? 2 years ago. And it tells me he wants to win. You see him changing his game to being more passive, to being less forceful. It tells me his mind state. You see in clutch moments, he want to shoot the ball all the time. So he has a better killer instinct in my opinion. Overall skill, this was tough too. I gave Book a 4 out of 5, a solid B, and I gave Paul a 4.2 out of 5. Paul has handle too. Paul has a post game, and Paul is the better defender. That does come with skill set like sliding your feet, being in the passing lanes, and that little nuance adds on to your overall skill. So by a hair again, I gave it to PG. Sustainability, D Book 3.8 out of 4. Paul 2.9. He got a severe injury, obviously, so that's what knocked him down. And I think he had 2 injuries as well. So C, average type sustainability. Clutch, D Book 3 out of 4. PG 3.2 out of 4. Now I know I just said Book got better killer instinct, but you niggas don't listen. Killer instinct is different from clutch. Killer instinct is the mind state you take in every moment. Usually killer instincts will be clutch, but it's not always that way. Clutch is just your productive level in these situations in which it's arbitrary in which how we conceive it. Clutch moments to me might be different from y'all. I see a whole game could be a clutch moment in my opinion. So that's arbitrary in itself, but nonetheless it's your production and what is considered these clutch moments. And PG has been clutch to me. Like people clown him for playoff P, but his Pacers years, he was balling in the playoffs. That's where he really showed out against Miami, dunking on Birdman, averaging like 25 on LeBron. So these moments, you've seen him rise. Even OKC, he was eating in the playoffs by himself. He had a bad playoffs, but he had a good ass playoffs by himself one year too. So, or was it OKC? I forget which one. Oh, no, it was Pacers. It was Pacers when David West and Hibbert and all them niggas left in the first round. But he was averaging like 35. So I've seen him be clutch many a time. Where Booker, I think, is clutch. I just need more experience and more moments in what I consider to be clutch moments. Booker's first playoff appearance just happened. So with time, we'll get to tell who's more clutch. But both of them are pretty clutch. I just got Paul edging it. Hustle. 2 out of 3. Star players don't really hustle like that. Not saying they lack effort, but I'm talking about getting on the ground and doing the extras. 2 even. It might be a slight edge to Paul if I put more thought to it, but I gave him even, be it that none of them getting on the floor today. Hustle out of 3. Grit out of 3. 2 out of 3 D Book. PG 2.3 out of 3. I just seen him talk a little bit more shit more and get engaged in what I consider to be a more gritty type style play. Even being more physical, like right there, constitutes grit to me. So PG with the slight edge. Team player, 3-3. Coachability, 3-3. I think they're both good team players. I think they both can be coached. So they come with the standard. It takes you to be a low morale or inflammatory type nigga to lower your coachability or your team playing ability. These two are neither of those, so they both get the standard stock 3. And with that being said, we total up all the rankings. When you average out when you add up Devon Booker's categories, he scores at a 80 flat. 80 flat. Now, y'all know this ain't 2K. His rating is not 80 out of 100. He ain't a B average. It's just 80 on my criteria. Nobody will reach 100. Your favorite player will not reach 100 in Dame's world. So 80 is a decent score in Dame's world. Eventually, I'll have a list of all the scores so you can see where niggas line up. He gets an 80. PG gets a 81.6. So this was very close in Dame's world. PG wins by 1.6. And the reason why, after doing the metrics, in my opinion, is he's the better defender. He has more experience to have more nuances, like when it comes to the post play, that comes with experience. When it comes to just his off ball ability, shooting the rock, off balls, coming off picks, I think he's better at that than Book. When it comes to playing defense, I think that's a critical component as to why PG won this. And his athleticism. Because when it comes to just offensive end, I probably would have had D Book. He has scoring, shooting, and passing out the gate. So D Book probably is the better overall offensive player, but the overall better player in Dame's world, PG. 80 to 81.6. Paul George won 12 categories. Booker won 9. They tied 4. And with that, we conclude a fire-ass eye test. I got PG over D-Book. Let me know y'all's thoughts in y'all comments, who y'all got. I think this was very close, and once I start comparing them, I really realized that their game is real similar. It may not look aesthetically the same. D-Book a little more shifty, a little more takes lean-in type, tough, difficult shots, and Paul George more straight line, less shifty, get to the rack, but their effectiveness is very similar. You feel me? And they also revert to their clip. When shit goes down, they gonna shoot some shit, over some shit. So let me know your thoughts in your comments, man. I got PG by a slight edge. Let me know what y'all think. Hit the likes, hit the shares, hit the subscribes. Become a member. Like I said, my loyalists. Y'all niggas been down with me forever. I've been down with y'all forever. Free work all day. Free work all day. It's gonna continue to be free work all day. But if you want to show more reciprocity in Dame's world, the first package showing love is $4.99 a month. That's like giving a nigga a quarter. Not even. Giving a nigga a dime a day. So a dime a day, you feel me, keeps Dame's world in play, motherfucker. So get your memberships. Like, subscribe, share. It's your boy, another fire Dames, another fire eye test. We out this bitch.